there's no place like home for the holidays. And no matter how far away you roam, if you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can.
Welcome back to Horror for the Holidays, a Christmas horror movie podcast. I'm Jay Logsden.
And I'm Jeff Searcy.
Ow! Hey, Jeff! Ow! Hey, Jeff! Stop pinching me!
I won't.
I
refuse. You have not worn green on St. Patrick's Day, Jay.
Ow! Ooh! Ah! Ooh!
Now you must suffer.
Yeah, it's Jeff, it's end of an era. We're ending our St. Patrick's Day tradition
Real shame.
of watching a Maniac Cop movie.
Maybe we'll have to make another one.
Yeah, we'll make a fourth Maniac Cop movie. Call her a regular cop. Bringing that joke back.
Yep. Third time in a row.
Yeah, let's put some green on for
Let's dye the beer green.
for Maniac Cop 3 Badge of Silence.
Dun dun dun.
HBO premiere December 10th, 1992.
Yeah, because the man slapped it with an NC-17, Jay.
Oh, those bastards.
They wouldn't even remove it on an appeal. And like we were talking about a little bit ago, I don't see why. Nothing in this movie seems NC-17.
No, this is such a tame movie. I think even tame by the standards of the first two movies. Written by Larry Cohen, who also did the first two Maniac Cops, Uncle Sam, as well as The Stuff. It's Alive movies, The Ambulance, which I've not seen The Ambulance, but I've heard it's great, and it sounds very kind of Maniac Cop-y.
I've heard good things, yeah.
Directed by William Lustig, directed the first two, and the 1980s Maniac, which I'm going to say again, I think is a Christmas movie. So we're going to have to do that at some point.
Yes.
But it is listed as credited to Director Guild of America pseudonym Alan Smythe because both Lustig and Cohen walked away from the movie.
I mean, I get why, knowing the behind-the-scenes details, but honestly, I would have been fine leaving my name on this movie. It's not like it's terrible.
Yeah, co-produced by Joel Soisen, who directed basically like the 35 minutes of movie that they were gone for. Joel Soisen did write Dracula 2000, a couple Hellraiser and Children of the Corn sequels, and the 1986 Trick or Treat featuring rock god Sammy Kerr, which is coming to a spooktacular at some point, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Rock's favorite demon or something like that. I have not seen the movie. It gets talked about a lot. Robert Zadar returns as Matt Cordell, the Maniac Cop.
What are you, some kind of Maniac Cop?
And I believe he spent some time in Davenport, Iowa. I don't know if I mentioned that. Or Dubuque, Iowa, I believe.
Dubuque?
Apparently there is a bar with a bunch of pictures, like signed pictures of him on the wall in Dubuque. So
cool.
If we can figure out what bar that is, we might have to go up and...
On the scene report.
Yep.
With Horror for the Holidays.
Oh, man, just what the people want.
Yes.
Robert Davi returns as Detective Sean McKinney. But Larry Cohen's original script wanted it to be a story about like a young black detective like cutting his teeth in the force.
Yes.
And the Japanese production company basically forced Larry Cohen to get Robert Davi back, which started the whole tension that was mentioned. Basically, Larry Cohen had a whole script written. And like I said, it was about this like young black detective, dealing with a voodoo priest and a maniac cop. And then the production company said, no, we want Robert Davi back, like in the last movie.
The company saw it and they were like, wait a minute, where's my Maniac Cop guys?
And then so Larry Cohen went, well, okay, you want this movie, then you want these rewrites, you want a different movie than the script I wrote. You're going to have to pay me for it. They refused. So Larry Cohen walked. So William Lustig basically shot what he had and had about 55 minutes of usable footage.
Nice.
And went, unless you get Larry Cohen back, I can't do anything with this. So he walked, and so that's why Joel Soisen directed the last 35 so minutes of the movie. Not the last 35 so minutes, but 35 remaining minutes of the movie.
Indeed.
Caitlin Delaney as Dr. Susan Fowler, because astute listeners of last year's episode, Maniac Cop 2, remember that Robert Davi and whoever the blonde-haired doctor love interest was of the last movie hated each other on set.
Of course, yes.
A guy named Ted Raimi is reported, or is reporter. His brother Sam was reporter in the first two movies. Weird.
Yeah, I guess that is odd.
I don't know anything about him. Ted Raimi was in Intruder, which is a great movie, and also in the Evil Dead movies. I don't know. Weird.
Weird. Very weird.
Gretchen Becker is Katie Sullivan. Jackie Earl Haley is Frank Jessup. Any thoughts on Jackie Earl Haley, Jeff?
No. None at all, Jay.
No micro naps.
I look down at these freaks in the streets and I hate them, Jay. I want them dead.
Doug Savant plays Dr. Peter Meyerson, and it has a role in Trick or Treat. Robert Forster is Dr. Powell, and was Sheriff Hadley, the main character's dad in The Wolf of Snow's Hollow. I believe that's who he was, right?
I think so, yes.
He was the sheriff, but also the sheriff deputy's dad.
Yes.
And then has a heart attack or something.
It's something like that, yes.
It's been a long time since I watched that movie. Hari James, who we last saw as a nurse in Pumpkinhead 2, is radiation therapist.
Good to see she's moved up in her career.
Yep. Could not find a budget for this movie, but not surprising for an HBO direct release.
The budget I was able to find was about $15 million. It seemed like that was including the extra time they had to shoot. So not super high budget, but I mean average for the time.
Where to watch? Streaming free currently on Tubi. I think a lot of those places.
Free on YouTube too.
And you're able to buy a Blu-ray copy, I think through MVD Rewind or something like that. Personal experience.
You told me there were 3 Maniac Cop movies, and I've been waiting to watch this one until this year.
I was gonna say same thing. There's 2 other Maniac Cop movies, and we watched them for the previous 2 St. Patrick's days.
I'm glad I did though.
I think they're fun movies. We'll dive into it. Let's get into our synopsis. We start off with a black screen with text explaining the plot of the first 2 movies. Officer Matt Cordell was framed, imprisoned, and brutally murdered by the very criminals he had put behind bars. Seeking revenge on the police force that betrayed him, Cordell returned as the Maniac Cop to terrorize New York City. When fellow officer Sean McKinney finally cleared Cordell's name, he thought the terror would end. He thought wrong.
Then the awesome soundtrack kicks in for the intro.
Yeah, we get chanting and candles and like an altar as this man performs like a ceremony over it. And that kind of overlaps with shots from the end of the second movie of Cordell's funeral and burial, and other clips of like Cordell going on a shooting spree. I think in the second movie, there was a scene that I didn't recall in the second movie, but when I saw it in this movie, he picks up a cop and like throws him through multiple walls.
Yes.
I was like, I don't remember if that was in the second movie. That's a great scene.
Yes, that is amazing.
Like 8 walls break as this guy just goes flying through them. The man at the altar draws a dagger and plunges it into a decapitated head at his altar. And as that happens, Cordell wakes up and breaks through the casket, grabbing the badge and pulling it inside.
Yes.
Title card, Maniac Cop 3, Badge of Silence.
Again.
As the opening credits play, we get shots of Cordell patrolling the streets of New York City once again. At a police shooting range, McKinney nails a bunch of shots on this target, and he and Officer Katie Sullivan talk as they keep shooting a target, and Katie mentions offhandedly that they call her Maniac Kate. And McKinney gives her a watch for her birthday. She's like his kind of like his took her under his wing kind of deal.
He's like the mentor figure, I guess. Oh yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, and I gotta go to court for another excessive force complaint. Jeez.
Back on the streets, Cordell is walking under a bridge, and then we cut to McKinney arriving at a crime scene where someone has been decapitated. Oh. And a really cool thing with a smiley face, like painted where the body's decapitated.
Yes, a great line too. At least he died smiling.
McKinney finds some feathers, a chicken foot, and some symbols on the ground. 2 reporters show up, but McKinney kind of gets rid of them. Then McKinney tells fellow officer Leo that he recognizes the voodoo ritual because he's had an interest in them since Cordell.
Yes, and he also suspects that the man died of an overdose and was not actually killed.
A homeless man and McKinney talk about the body and the symbol that he saw, which means anti-justice. It's like two triangles facing each other with a line down the middle. Cut to a hostage situation.
Yes.
As two cops get killed. And then Officer Sullivan shows up with her partner, and the hostage taker like immediately blows her partner away.
Of course. Why not?
The two reporters.
I was going to say, you're being very generous by describing these two guys as reporters, Jay.
Yeah, they're like the sleaziest fucking.
They're like guys trying to get a scoop so they can sell their tape to the local news.
Yeah, they're like they're ambulance chasers essentially, but for trying to get.
They're like running the police scanner, like, oh god, I hope a kid gets killed or something, so we can sell some footage.
Yeah, I don't know what to call them, scumbags.
Yes.
They overhear this on their police scanner, arriving as Officer Sullivan gets the drop on the hostage taker, shooting him twice, just for the hostage to reveal herself to be his girlfriend, and it was an inside job.
And she gets shot.
The hostage shoots Officer Sullivan, but Sullivan is able to put two bullets right between her eyes, and the two scumbags film the whole thing.
Yes.
Sullivan is taken to the hospital as Cordell watches on from across the street, and then enters a church with the anti-justice symbol painted on like the front sign thing.
Dun dun dun.
Where he meets the voodoo priest who resurrected him. At the hospital, McKinney sees a news report about the shooting and how the camera crew had skewed it to look like she shot them both in cold blood. And Cordell is in the church hearing the same report on the radio. Somehow there's both a television and a radio report with the same exact things being said.
The priest also makes an important point that's going to come up later. Cordell looks like he's about to kill him when he first walks in, and he's like, I couldn't have brought you back unless you wanted to come back.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, oh yes, yeah, that will come back. McKinney talks to Sullivan's doctor, who confirms that she is brain dead. In like the most cavalier way possible.
I have that quote, Jay.
Cordell watches the hospital from the street, and a guy comes up and says, she had it coming. So Cordell picks him up, throws him into the air, and as the guy's flying through the air, Cordell unloads his 6-shooter into him in midair while the guy falls to the ground dead.
It's because the guy was telling him that all these cops are just a bunch of cowboys. So he does a cowboy shooting trick on him.
I loved it. The next day, Willie, who must work for the DA or something, tells McKinney that they are allowing Jessup, the hostage taker, a 6-month play deal because Sullivan was using non-issued weapons, hollow point bullets, and
automatic weapons.
Yep. Which, I mean, Cordell also uses. Man, they had a real problem with automatic weapons in these movies. Cordell uses them a ton.
Oh, McKinney's like, what are you saying, man? The scumbags out on the street have this stuff. We're just trying to make it fair.
McKinney goes to talk to Jessup and cuts off his oxygen, but Jessup's doctor, Dr. Fowler, walks in and then confronts him about it afterwards. And apparently, Susan is in the same hospital where there is also like the police hostage wing.
Yes, of course.
Which is just a wild choice. It's one hospital. There's just one floor that's, I guess, maybe not even a floor. There's a wing that is dedicated to like prisoners who are getting medical treatment, and then the rest of the hospital is for
Jay. It's the Mother of Mercy Prison Wing Hospital. What's so hard to understand about that?
McKinney then goes to sit at like Katie's bedside, where she has a dream about getting married, and it starts off, I think, kind of pleasant, and then like it becomes very like blue in tone as she keeps walking by, just like a bunch of like on duty like police officers wearing like their police officer uniforms. She makes her way to the front, and it's clearly Cordell standing there, Robert Zadar, and his face looks normal, and then when he turns to look at her, it's the Maniac Cop face.
And then she has like a seizure type thing.
Yeah, and opens her eyes and maybe sits up, maybe
a little bit, yeah.
And so he goes to Sean McKinney goes to talk to Dr. Fowler about that, and Dr. Fowler's like, well, there's nothing I can do about it. I'm not her doctor. You know, I have to get to Dr. Meyerson, and Dr. Meyerson just basically spends his whole time being like, "Are you trying to hit on me, Dr. Fowler?"
Yeah.
Real piece of shit, Dr. Meyerson. In a locked room, Meyerson, Katie's doctor, is hooking up with a nurse when a gloved hand pounds on the door. Meyerson goes outside to check and gets defibrillator paddled by Cordell, like right in the face.
Yes.
And then proceeds to get like defibrillator paddled multiple times.
To death.
Where he runs up to the roof And then there's this great scene where he's like walking on like this bridge, like this metal bridge, and Cordell electrifies the bridge.
Yes.
And then, he electrifies, defibrillates his face to death.
Some very creative kills in this one. I like it.
Dr. Fowler then sees Cordell and like leave Katie's room and walk down the stairs. And she follows him to the basement, but loses track of him in the tunnels.
Yes. The tunnels, of course, Jay. The old hospital tunnels.
Of course.
They lead to the other buildings around here.
Yeah. And there's nothing going on in those other buildings. No reason to check those.
No, don't look in there.
McKinney shows up to investigate Meyerson's murder and chats with Fowler, who seems to be warming up to him a bit. And there's a long discussion about how pretty much everybody at the hospital hated Dr. Meyerson.
I'm not surprised, Jay. I'm really not.
Dude's a real piece of shit. And then she like offhandedly mentions seeing a large cop leaving Sullivan's room and going down into the tunnels. So McKinney goes down into the tunnels.
I gotta see what's down in those tunnels.
And winds up in the abandoned church with Hungan, the voodoo priest, who tells McKinney he will see Cordell soon as they walk the same path.
It's got a pretty cool line, too, about bringing people back from the dead. Something like, sometimes when somebody dies, unfinished business, the last scream echoes, and you can hear it.
And when they come back, they don't come back right. Wait, wrong movie. The head of the hospital cuts a deal with like the scumbag DA for the city to take Katie off life support as he's going to like put the orders like on her chart or whatever to remove her from life support. He hears like a sound in the x-ray room, like some glass shattering, and he's like, "Oh, I hope no one's horsing around at my hospital."
What is it? Treating my hospital like a Turkish restaurant.
Yeah. And then he gets grabbed from behind by Cordell, strapped to a gurney in the x-ray room. And then Cordell just turns on the x-ray machine and leaves.
Well, we never got to find out if he got those tickets as a kickback for murdering that woman.
Oh, yeah, he was supposed to get like Nick's tickets or something, right?
Yeah.
A nurse then finds the hospital administrator radiated to death in the x-ray room, and we get his face all boiling and shit.
Looks nice.
The two scumbag reporters are driving looking for footage, and one admits that they altered the footage to make Katie look bad. They hear about a drive-by where a kid got shot, and they both get immediate hard-ons to go.
Yes, we got to celebrate.
So they go to film it, but when they arrive, they split up. One of them goes to kind of like get an interview, and then when he goes to find the other one, all that's there is an ambulance and nothing else with the lights going.
Another one of my favorite quotes. He's interviewing the kid, and he's like, "Yeah, it was my sister. Yeah, life sucks." Anyway.
He opens the doors to the ambulance just to find his partner and two EMTs dead inside, and then Cordell stabs him from behind through his stomach.
Good.
Cordell goes to McKinney's car, rips the door off the hinges, and then places a VHS tape on the seat. McKinney, Fowler, and then us as well see that the tape contains the unedited footage, clearing Katie of any wrongdoing.
Excellent.
Jessup's lawyer and the scummy DA arrive to set the deal for Jessup's release. But Jessup and the other prisoners have been let loose by the Maniac Cop, Matt Cordell.
It's almost like he wants them to get shot or something. Can't believe it.
Cordell walks in, gives Jessup a gun, and then unlocks his handcuffs and leaves the key.
Yes.
But Jessup shoots his own lawyer, and there's a great line.
Yes.
Cordell then goes to Katie's room and just like rips her out of all like the things that are keeping her alive.
Of course.
Jessup and his fellow prisoners are trying to escape. They see a covered gurney moving down the hall towards them. And they're like, "Oh, what's this?" And immediately gunfire starts shooting out from it as we get this like, I don't know, cool like 2-minute action scene.
Yes. Dual wielding pistols. McKinney bursts out from under the sheet and shoots all of them.
And there's like a scene where like he like kick flips into a room, but then keeps his foot out. So he actually then like turns around and bounces back out of the room.
Amazing.
That's so cool. But yeah, kills the two prisoners, but Jessup is able to escape. McKinney chases Jessup into the women's bathroom, where he is using like a nurse. Like McKinney goes, he opens one bathroom stall door. There's no one there. Opens the next one, and there's a nurse, and he's like, "Oh, sorry." And then the nurse gets pushed aside. It's Jessup. Jessup starts firing, and then McKinney just like unloads like, I don't know, his entire clip into him.
Yes.
And then we get a nice toilet flushing sound effect.
Yes.
Because Jessup was sitting on the toilet when this happened.
His soul was flushed down the toilet. And apparently the nurse was sitting on his lap while he was on the toilet.
Right. I mean, yes, that's the implication. McKinney and Fowler share a kiss for a brief moment, but Leo interrupts to tell them that Katie is missing. They go down into the basement tunnels to the church where Hungan stands over Katie's body, performing a ritual. When McKinney tries to stop it, Cordell is just standing behind Hungan.
Yes.
With holding a shotgun. And then, like, Hungan's like, and is basically like holding the shotgun. And he like Cordell turns to Hungan and says the only speaking line he has in this entire franchise, "Finish it."
Yes.
Which is like, even in the first movie when like he's just kind of undead and not monstrous at all, he is not able to talk. He just grunts the whole time.
Yes.
Which I just thought was really funny. Hungan then tells Cordell that he can't finish it, so Cordell kills him.
Yes, he can't bring her soul back because she's not willing to come back.
Yeah, she doesn't want to come back, unlike Cordell, who did. Killing Hungan causes, when he shoots Hungan falls into a bunch of candles, which lights Katie's body on fire. Cordell and McKinney have a brief firefight, and then Cordell turns, picking up Katie's body and carrying her, which causes him to become engulfed in flames as well. McKinney and Fowler are able to escape as Cordell falls to his knees, consumed by the fire.
Yes.
McKinney carries Fowler out, only to be met with a shotgun barrel like straight in his face. And
it's you, McKinney.
Yeah, the cop just goes, "Oh, McKinney, you're here." McKinney and Fowler get in the ambulance and share another kiss, only for a Cordell still on fire, having stolen a police car to chase them down. The ambulance driver bails, so McKinney has to jump in the front seat. Chase scene.
The greatest chase scene.
A still on fire Cordell in a police car with no driver's side door is trying to get to McKinney and Fowler. Lots of gunfire. Fowler screaming. At one point she says, "I hate this."
Yes.
And Cordell pushing cars off the road with his bare hands.
Of course.
Happens.
Yes. Yeah, all the time.
There's about, I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes of this.
It's great.
McKinney sees an oxygen tank in the back of the ambulance, so he jumps back behind and has to have Dr. Fowler take over driving so he can grab the ambulance and then basically get level with Cordell's police car and chuck it into there. He then goes to go back up front. And he's like, "All right, step on the gas." But Cordell has pulled up enough to grab a hold of the side of the ambulance. And because he has this unnatural strength, he's not letting go.
Yes.
So McKinney continues to like dump like bullets into him, causing nothing to happen. As a still on fire Cordell just won't let go. Finally, Fowler and McKinney switch back to McKinney driving. And there's like a sign in the middle of the road, or not in the middle of the road, but there's like a sign.
Yeah.
And he like splits the sign between the two cars, severing Cordell's hand, but it causes the ambulance to like flip.
Yep.
And Cordell's car is fine. So Cordell does like a 360 spin.
Of course, yes.
Turns and faces the ambulance as they're getting ready to try to get out of the ambulance and trying to get free.
Yes.
And Cordell like revs the engine twice, and then the oxygen tank explodes, blowing up the whole car.
Yes. Clear as day, Jay. Totally would happen that way, too.
McKinney then gets out of the car, grabs Cordell's hand, or the severed arm, uses it to light his cigarette on fire,
Of course, as you do.
and then tosses it into the flaming car wreckage, and turns around and like he and Dr. Fowler hug.
Yes.
And,
We're not kissing
Yeah,
again.
they're not kissing because of what's happening. Because if they had kissed, I was really waiting for Cordell to just emerge from the flaming wreckage. One last scare. We did not get that. And you think, and we get like the aerial shot and like the pan up in the aerial shot of them like walking away arm in arm. And I was like, it's the end of the movie. It cuts to the mortuary. Mm-hmm. The mortuary assistant wheels Katie's crispy body into the mortuary next to a covered gurney, and then and walks over to a computer, and underneath the covered gurney is a burned, mutilated hand of Cordell, which reaches over and grabs Katie's hand. And then the mortuary assistant turns around. He's like, what was that? End of movie.
Yes.
Oh, and there's a music sting. So it's almost like the mortuary assistant heard the music sting.
Yes.
And he's like,
What was that?
was there a music sting?
Oh, no. I'm in one of those Maniac Cop movies, aren't I?
And then the credits roll. Happy St. Patrick's Day. This movie had nothing to do with either St. Patrick's Day like the first one or Christmas like the second one. This is just a third
But
movie.
it's a Maniac Cop, Jay, which is, given the history of Maniac Irish cops, it's totally St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, this is a St. Patrick's Day themed movie. What a film.
What a movie. What that was my succinct review. What a movie.
Well, do you have any other thoughts besides what a movie before we dive into our categories?
Now let's just start talking about it.
All right, where do you want to kick off?
Let's talk about how much St. Patrick's Day theming this amazing project has.
I was going to say St. Patrick's Day spirit, how St. Patrick's Day is the movie, how Christmassy is the movie. Let's just talk about the kills. Some good kills, some good solid kills.
Some great, honestly, the best Maniac Cop kill I think we've seen so far. Well, actually, two of the best, because we have the defibrillator kill, which is awesome. The X-ray kill, which is awesome, even though you don't actually see it go on completely. Honestly, the I like the cowboy kill too, when he tosses him up and shoots him.
I like that all three movies we've had like a chase scene.
Yes, the big chase at the end.
I think this one's the best.
Yes, I was gonna say this one. They like pulled out all the stops for this chase scene. I don't think this is like a crazier chase scene than I think you would see even in like a modern big budget movie.
The fact that the Maniac Cop is on fire the entire
time. Yes, that's what I could not get over while I was watching it. It's like this is like a 10-minute long chase, and he is on fire the entire time.
I literally had a moment like where I was like, wow, I'm kind of out, but I'm glad the movie's done. And it was right about the time that McKinney and Fowler were kissing, and then for Cordell to just pull up with still on fire,
yes,
and break through the glass and start attacking them, and the ambulance driver to then jump out of the ambulance, leaving McKinney and Fowler to drive the ambulance themselves. I went back in 100%.
Exactly. So many great kills, great chase scene. Maniac Cop still looks great, even though you really don't get a good look at him in this one.
I would say I think this is my let's do wearing green. Let's do sets, costumes, etc. I do think this is maybe the worst of the Maniac Cop looks.
Like prosthetics, yeah.
Because like the first one, it was just Robert Zadar with some fake stitches like on his face, and then the second one, it was like he had been underwater, so his body had gotten waterlogged, and he was gray and kind of like decaying. And this one, he's almost more like monstrous looking.
Yeah, he's really this is the third time he's been brought back, Jay.
Yep. Also, I didn't like that he talked. I thought that was kind of dumb.
Yeah, I don't know. That kind of gave me the Michael Myers talking to Loomis vibe thing. I don't know about that.
Shout out to the gurney shootout.
Oh my god,
that was amazing.
I love that they did. They used the setting of the hospital to do some cool kills. It wasn't just like coincidentally at a hospital,
right? And honestly, not kind of related to filming aspects. I couldn't really see a difference between, where William Lustig hadn't filmed stuff. Like whoever the guy who took over, the new director, like clearly did a good job of kind of trying to keep the vision the same.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't really see a big difference in style between the reshoots and the main story.
You want to do quotes next? I think we're both itching to do quotes.
We could do some quotes. Oh fuck! I shot my lawyer. Yeah, you can get another one. They're free.
St. Patrick's Day carols. In fact, that's oh great! I shot my lawyer. Fuck him. Get another one. They're free.
Our brilliant trauma surgeon, the best in the hospital. What should we do with her? Put her in a rock garden. I don't know.
Reporter, I believe Ted Raimi. But for this young pharmacist, the last prescription she filled was the bitter pill of fate.
That one stuck out to me as well.
One of McKinney's first lines. I love the sound of gunfire.
Oh yeah. Before she becomes in a coma Maniac Cop, She's like, I'm getting drugged down to the courthouse again. And he's like, excessive force? Yep, of course. Popular complaint these days.
The one you said earlier, at least he died with a smile on his face.
Yes, I had that one.
McKinney finding the decapitated body.
Yes, the actual quote from Dr. Meyerson. Detective Kenny says, "What's the prognosis?" And Dr. Meyerson says, "Stick her in a rock garden." McKinney, I don't like your sense of humor.
Dr. Fowler, I believe. We got a pulse. Fading. McKinney, how bad is she? Dr. Fowler, you know her religion? McKinney, Catholic.
Get her a priest.
Yeah, get a priest. That was my last one.
Yeah, that was all I had. I was tempted to put in the doofus cop from the end. Oh, McKinney, it's you.
Yeah. A guy like could have just been Cliff the mailman. Like that's how silly that both that cop and Leo, the guy who just keeps like barging in on McKinney.
Yes.
Like I'm just like that guy could have just been John Ratzenberger. Like
Oh, I did have one more actually. The two scumbags in the car drive by. Oh, it's a kid. Oh, sweet. Let's get over there.
oh my god. Well, let's Jeff. Let's kiss the Blarney Stone and find the pot of gold. One thing you want to fix, one thing you want to praise.
I mean, trying to fix a perfect movie, Jay. What can you really say? No. What I picked something I think you would probably agree with. I think they should have picked one direction for the story and fleshed it out more in that direction, because it seems like we've got basically three separate stories coming together here. Mm-hmm. You've got whatever's going on with the voodoo priest guy, who seems like a lot of his stuff was cut out. You have what's going on with our new Maniac Cop and her excessive force and problems. And then you have the follow-up for the Matt Cordell Maniac Cop story that's still continuing on. And I think they really should have picked one of those three things to make a Maniac Cop movie about. Probably, honestly, the voodoo one was probably the most interesting thing they could have done.
I kind of the same thing. I would like to see what the original movie idea is with the black cop and the voodoo and stuff like that.
It was originally going to be a series of murders happening in Harlem, and I think it was going to eventually be revealed that it was Matt Cordell performing these murders.
Which, and just kind of know what that film was supposed to be, which actually for me leads to my pot of gold, my piece of praise. I was really impressed what they were able to accomplish with essentially like half a script in only like an hour of footage.
Yes.
Like, they made a competent movie. Like
that was similar to my praise was for the third entry in a series. This movie is really solid. Usually by the time when you get to number 3, if anything, it's pretty much running on fumes. But honestly, I think they could easily make a sequel to this still.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I was like that was decent. Like
I said, I understand why they walked away from the project, creative differences with the production company or whatever. But honestly, I would have left my name on this movie if I were Lustig.
No, I think this was. No, I kind of completely agree with you. I think this was a solid movie, and like you said, for a third movie in a series, like they did a pretty good job. I think one of the reasons they probably walked away too was I believe there were a lot of very early negative reviews, and then it's been like maybe in the last like 10 years or so, it's kind of gotten reappraised, and people are like, no, this movie's actually pretty good, actually. Yeah,
no, it's entertaining. It's fun to watch. Like we said, good kills, solid atmosphere with the soundtrack really helps the atmosphere, I think, make it a little bit more scary than it would be, I think, without it.
Let's get into it. We're kind of doing final rating stuff anyway. Every St. Patrick's Day episode of Horror for the Holidays, we rate our movie on one of 3 categories.
Is it a pot of gold, Jay? Is it the bad one should definitely be like the day after St. Patrick's Day hangover.
Right. The good one should be like like you said, I don't know. We've already done pot of gold, but sure, why not pot of gold again?
Yeah.
And the hilarious one. Jeff.
Well, I was kind of torn on this because there's a lot of stuff that is funny / horrifyingly bad, which makes it kind of funny. It's like the two scumbag guys trying to get their footage. But I landed on hilarious for this one, which we're going to just call the Banshees of Inisherin, because that's an Irish movie I can think of.
The In Bruges. Wait, that's same cast.
But yeah, no, it's a solid movie. You'll have fun with it. I mean, like Jay said earlier, for a movie that only really had 55 minutes of footage when they finished shooting it initially, I think they did a pretty good job. You got pretty much a good balance between like the horror slasher element of Matt Cordell plus like the action movie hero stuff that McKinney gets up to. And setting it in the hospital, I think, was a good idea because of those creative kills they were able to add in with that. And of course, you know, the usual scumbag, corrupt politician stuff is always fun to see.
No, I kind of went with hilarious. I don't think this was as good as the first two. I think the first two are better, but like we've said, like for a third movie in a franchise, not too bad. And like I said earlier, I was going through, I was enjoying it well enough. I was like, well, all right, the movie's done. They get in that ambulance, they kiss, and then for fucking Cordell to drive up, and I was instantly back in. I was, holy shit, what a car chase! That might be my favorite car chase in any movie ever. Like, oh my god,
it's gonna be Jay's one-line review. What a car chase!
What a car chase! Oh my god, that like instantly back in. I saw that and I just went, nope, you guys got me. Just when I think I'm out, they pulled me back in. No, and just for him to be really driving while on fire. And they established that the way he opens car doors is by ripping them off the hinges.
Yes.
So, of course, the police car that he's stolen is
no
missing its driver's side door.
Oh, yeah, Jay, you can't expect the man to open a door a regular way. Not with that kind of strength.
Oh, my God, I loved it so much.
It's very entertaining movie. They did a good job of what they had.
Yep. All right. Well, Jeff, at the end of this rainbow, will we find gold? I doubt it. Let's do some reviews. It's probably going to be shit.
Ooh, I got a couple doozies for you, Jay.
I've got 3.
Go ahead and start.
All right. 1 out of 10 stars. So bad that I couldn't believe it. Warning, spoil. Oh, I don't have to read that part. What the fuck is happening in this movie? I mean, 1 and 2 were very entertaining, but this one is just a big pile of crap. I've read about the script troubles, and that really hurt the movie. The plot makes no sense at all. I mean, why was the cop resurrected? That is explained.
It's literally explained at the very beginning of the movie, but okay.
What was that about the cop woman? I don't know what you're referring to there, but sure. The main character is just a walking cliche. It is not even well played, and it is not even well played the actor.
Oh, yes, of course.
That scene where he kisses the doctor makes no sense at all. I mean, they were clearly flirting multiple times.
They've literally been flirting the entire movie, but okay.
And it's just embarrassing. There's a subtext lost here. Something about cop brutality and cops dying on duty, but it just got lost in the mix of bad choices. It was really hard to complete the minimum character limit to finish this review. Stay away from this one. It is just bad. Maybe if you can't form enough things to do the minimum character limit for a review, maybe don't review the movie.
Yeah, if you're not creative enough to meet that target, maybe just keep your opinion to yourself.
Yeah, maybe just shut the fuck up. So that was my first one.
Oh, you want to hear my first one, Jay?
Yep.
2 stars. Longest stupid car chase scene in cinema? ?
The fuck?
Exactly. I knew that one would rile up Jay. I guess that was a one-line review, of course. The sequel was worster than part 2. That's another review. Worster, huh?
We got some real brain geniuses on our hands here.
Okay, here's my first real one. Maniac Cop 3 Badge of Silence is totally unnecessary and adds elements to the story that should be ignored. I see Maniac Cop 1 and 2 as true cinematic masterpieces, while Maniac Cop 3 is garbage. I like Maniac Cop 1 and 2, but cinematic masterpieces is a bit of a stretch for me. With that being said, I still think this movie is entertaining enough if you're low brow and love some 80s goofiness. Even though this came out in 1992, right. So yeah.
Oh, like Jerry D says, the long decade.
All right, hit me with another one, Jay.
2 out of 10. So last time we had the couldn't meet the minimum characters. This one, the guy had too many characters, couldn't finish his title. A disappointing end to what could have been a good...
What could have been a good, huh?
After 2 decent movies made with the same director and writer, you would think that this would be awesome like its predecessors. Wrong. Once again, I don't know, man, before you leave a review, do some research to see why maybe it's not the same movie.
And I mean, honestly, it still is good. I don't know what you people are talking about.
Pretty much everything is messed up in this movie. The biggest problem is probably the poor writing. What was the purpose? Once again, there were script issues. Why and what's going on? I have no idea what I've just watched, and there is little to none explanation.
Little to none. Good.
I find this is the kind of odd thinking that this... I find this is kind of odd thinking that this is made by the same filmmakers that made Maniac Cop 1 and 2. I think you already said that. Yeah. 2 movies that has a rather easy and straightforward plot. The whole movie feels rushed and unfinished. There is not much good to say about this movie. Even Cordell reacts unnatural compared with Maniac Cops 1 and 2. But it does have some neat fire stunts. Anyway, a disappointing and by far the weakest movie in the Maniac Cop trilogy. I do agree it's probably the weakest, but I wouldn't say it's disappointing.
No. No memory of the first 2. Quite a stupid series, really. Caught this one on a crappy B-movie Sky channel. Not a lot of the action makes much sense. Could have been better if we saw more of the female doctor, if you know what I'm saying. Oh, yes, both a high and lowbrow review, Jay.
Oh, I can't remember anything about this movie, but the series is terrible.
He also can't remember the other 2 to compare them, but apparently this is the worst one.
2 out of 10. Disapproving head shake. Look, it's the 3rd one, so you already know it's bad. I mean, Halloween 3 exists, so I beg to differ. Maniac Cop wasn't good enough to warrant the 2nd installment. The fuck you say? So you know it's even worse. But how much worse? Awful. Approaching god-awful. When Maniac Cop goes on a killing spree, a reporter exclaims, "What happened here can only be described as a black rainbow of death." 1. Rainbows are not black and can never be. 2. Rainbows are harmless and can never inflict pain or death. 3. A news reporter, one valuable to his agency, might find another way to describe the aftermath of a killing spree.
Okay,
a black rainbow of death is not the only way to describe the given situation. Okay. This is what you're in for.
I get what's going on here, Jay. We're dealing with one of those guys, aren't we?
Can't pick apart the movie, so just focuses on what...
We're dealing with an Elon type individual, I think.
That's not how rainbows work.
Rainbows don't work that way at all, and in fact, they cannot even inflict pain on you, Jay. I don't think that was the point.
I think this review inflicted psychic damage on me.
Since when did Maniac Cop become a vengeful spirit? This movie doesn't track with the other 2 at all.
There's literally a voodoo thing and everything that was... What?
Literally, Maniac Cop is a revenge story in every single one. Matt Cordell is being brought back specifically to get revenge for what happened to him. You know, Jay, I got a feeling that some of these idiots have not even seen the movie or any of the other ones.
Since when was Matt Cordell, the vengeful cop, wrongfully put away for by his fellow corrupt police officers? When has that ever been a revenge story?
This had a man driving a car whilst on fire. Seems unrealistic to me.
He's a maniac cop.
And he's dead, so he doesn't care about being on fire. This voodoo junk was also really odd and felt totally misplaced, since when can voodoo guys bring back people like zombies? That's literally what they do. These people, Jay, they're going to make me have a stroke or something if I keep reading these reviews.
Like I said, psychic damage.
Like the first couple, okay, but this one, really, really stupid. I mean, since when did the Maniac Cop become immune to damage?
since the first one. I'm pretty sure he takes like a shotgun blast to the
Literally,
to the
he
chest
takes
and
point
survives.
blank gunfire and survives in the first one. The second one, he gets like totally obliterated, still keeps on coming. But no, it's stupid in this one, Jay, because he's fighting while he's on fire. You know, somebody who was dead
Could do.
did not care about at all. Oh, and of course, Jay, half a star. Would give 0 if I could. Don't you
love
love
that
that guy
review.
showing up? I want to fight the people who are responsible for making this garbage. How could you make something so bad that it offended me? And I'm not even easily offended. I've watched lots of horror movies. We got the two things, Jay.
Yep.
Wish I could give it 0 stars, and I've watched lots of horror movies.
I've watched lots of horror movies. How many? How many, dude? Tell me how many you've watched.
That's all the reviews I could stomach, Jay.
Oh my god. Well,
But yeah, I'm glad that Maniac Cop isn't a guy driven by revenge, Jay. I'm glad he wasn't wronged. And
Yeah.
Since when does voodoo have anything to do with zombies, Jay?
I think that might be our tagline for the episodes. Since when does voodoo have anything to do with zombies?
I like it.
And then I don't know. We're getting better at writing our episode description, so we'll probably have something else in there. But I think we will have since when does voodoo have anything to do with zombies?
We should definitely have that, yes.
All right. Well, Jeff, we got our reservation list for our St. Patrick's Day party, and I think it remains 1 of 1 currently. It's
yeah.
Matt Cordell.
It's Matt Cordell.
We've not had any other St. Patrick's Day movies yet.
Oh, Jay. I think we're going to have a new entrant next year.
Oh yeah.
Because I think it's finally time that you found out what happened to me, pot of gold.
Oh, I'm so excited to do Leprechaun. Ah,
And we got 5 of them.
we got.
Well,
he's gotta
6
go.
if you count the requel.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have to, but we've got to watch him go to the hood, to
Yes.
space, and then back to the hood.
That's right, Jay. Leprechaun went to the hood and was so unfazed by it, he decided to go back a second time.
I'm so excited.
Beat Jason to space. Jason X, more like Leprechaun in space, Jay.
More like space race loser Jason X. I don't know.
This is falling apart. Move on.
Yeah. It's time for this.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
Well, Jeff, I couldn't find a lot of St. Patrick's Day candy or anything like that.
Yeah.
We didn't get any emails, but I did have some leftover Christmas candy. So
Oh, God. It's going to be so stale.
I've got I don't know, Grandma classic Christmas candy, Grandma May's candy dish.
Okay. I never had a Grandma May, but I guess we could try her classic candy.
We've got dark chocolate eggnog truffle chocolate bar.
That sounds despicable, but okay.
And to wash it all down, this is not expressly Christmas. We've got orange cream Coca-Cola.
Ooh, I love it when the chocolate has absolutely no texture at all, Jay. That looks great.
Since 1928, Primrose Candy Company has been the proud manufacturer of this traditional holiday candy. The family has passed down the secret to making these quality candies for 4 generations. The sticker covers part of it. Thank you for helping to keep the tradition alive.
You're welcome, Grandma.
Grandma May.
Oh my God, this is also the loudest packaging in history, Jay. All right, there's your half of the eggnog candy bar. Let's find out what's in Grandma May's candy dish.
It smells great.
Smells amazing. The secret is it's not even food.
Wait, is there cum in the middle of the eggnog
Yes,
candy
there's.
bar?
I think that's the eggnog filling. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Cum.
Yeah. You ready?
Yeah. It's dark chocolate.
Yeah, I pretty much just taste dark chocolate.
I'm not getting any eggnog flavor at all.
Not at all.
Not bad dark chocolate though. It's pretty tasty dark chocolate, I would say.
Yeah, not bad.
I'd eat one of these over a Hershey's bar. Hershey's bars taste fucking terrible.
Especially lately.
It's all those bug particles. Oh no, Nestle's lawyers are here.
Oh God. How do we eat Grandma's candies, Jay?
I don't know. Let's give it a shot.
Like a hard candy?
Not bad.
Yeah. I could see my grandma having something like this around. You win this round, Grandma May.
Grandma May, you're our grandma now. I assume she's dead.
Oh, most likely, yeah. This started in 1928. All right, let's taste this orange vanilla.
I'm getting a little bit of watermelon flavor from my Grandma May candy. I don't know if you are.
I did the one with the apple stamped on it, and it tastes like apple.
Okay.
So I'm guessing it's different fruit flavors.
All right, let's try this Coca-Cola.
All right, let's do it. Tastes like orange cream.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is actually not too bad. I also didn't realize it was orange cream. I thought it was just orange initially. And I was like, yeah, good enough. Like, orange Coke, that sounds disgusting. Orange cream actually sounds pretty good and tastes pretty good.
Not bad, not bad. You win this round, Coke.
I mean, I wouldn't say any of these are great. Like, I mean, probably the worst thing is the chocolate bar.
Yeah.
But damn, that's actually pretty good chocolate.
Yes.
Then probably Grandma May.
Yeah, I would say so.
And then, yeah, that
Coke seems the best.
That Coke's pretty good.
I agree.
Well, I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Send us an email, horrorfortheholidays@gmail.com. Stop Jeff and me from eating bullshit. Get in touch with us on social media. We are at Horror for Holidays. That's horror, the number 4 holidays in all the places.
Send us money for more Grandma May's candy. We need to fill our candy dish.
Yeah, yeah. You know what?
Yeah, that's right. We said it. YouTube.com/horror for the holidays. Subscribe, hit the bell. You know what to do. Leave the comments. Leave us ratings on the podcatchers, especially like Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Give us those 5-star ratings.
Yeah.
Even if you hate it, 5-star. Otherwise, we're not going to bother reading it.
Yep. No. Yeah. That's the thing. They need those reviews to. I think you can't just leave a starred review. I think it helps to also have some comment, even if it's like, "I am the cum man." That helps.
You know what? On this episode specifically, if you made it to the end, leave the comment. I didn't realize voodoo had anything to do with zombies.
Yep.
Well, no, you made it to the end of the episode.
Or I am the cum man. One of those two things.
I'm pretty sure that's probably going to get censored, but yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, maybe do that. I don't know.
Go ahead and try it.
Do one or the other, I guess. But yeah, otherwise, I think that's all the things.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Happy St. Patrick's Day.
yeah, don't get pinched.
Yes, have a safe one.
Watch out for leprechauns and maniac cops and
Regular cops trying to pull you over because you're driving home drunk like you know you're not supposed to.
and other St. Patrick's Day horror movies that I can't remember.
Leprechaun. That's the only one I can think of.
Didn't we have like the Slua Returns or something last year?
Oh, yeah.
When we were like reviewing something else that popped up as one. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Bye.